My grandfather's checkbook slipped from my father's fingers as our eyes locked across the kitchen table. The inheritance, my $100,000 inheritance, was already gone. Not being spent, not being saved. Gone. The business needed capital, my father said, voice flat as the empty bank statement he'd reluctantly shown me. Behind him, my mother's fingers twisted her wedding band in nervous circles. Neither would look directly at me. I stared at my college acceptance letter on the refrigerator door, the edges already curling from summer humidity. Computer science at Northwestern. My future. My escape. The dream I'd earned through 4 years of straight A's and weekend study sessions while my brother partied. You spent my college money on Tyler's construction company? The words felt like glass in my throat. My mother's smile tightened. It's a family investment, Natalie. We are all making sacrifices. I waited for the punchline. For the just kidding moment. For anything except the wall of certainty in their expressions. My name is Natalie, I'm 36 and a senior software architect. This is the story of how I rebuilt my life from the foundation they demolished. Their definition of family had never included me. My older brother Tyler was their golden child, charming, social, ambitious, and chronically irresponsible. His needs always came first, his failures always forgiven. My achievements were footnotes, my needs were inconveniences. But stealing my future? That was new territory even for them. What about my tuition? I whispered, hands pressed flat against the table to hide their trembling. Fall semester starts in 6 weeks. My father's shoulders squared, defensive. You'll get loans, Natalie. Everyone does. This business will make us all wealthy, we'll pay off your loans later with the profits. You can apply for financial aid, my mother added brightly, as if suggesting I try a new breakfast cereal. And there's always community college for a year or two until things take off. The planning, the lies, the casual destruction of my future hit me in waves. They'd known about this inheritance for months. They'd watched me apply to colleges, celebrate my acceptance, plan my courses. All while knowing they'd already decided my money belonged to my brother. Did Tyler even ask for this? I said, my voice steadier than I felt. My father's expression hardened. Your brother has vision. This isn't about what he asked for, it's about what this family needs. That night I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I packed. My laptop, 3 changes of clothes, and $342 in babysitting money. Outside, the July air pressed against my skin like a wet blanket as I walked away from the only home I'd known. No one followed me. No one called to check if I was safe. My childhood friend Hannah's family took me in without question. Stay as long as you need, her mother said, making up the couch with fresh sheets. I called Northwestern the next morning to defer my admission, my voice breaking only once during the call. I found work waiting tables at a local diner, then added a night shift stocking shelves at a grocery store. Sleep became a luxury I couldn't afford. I lived on coffee and determination, saving every dollar, applying for every scholarship and grant I could find. My parents called twice that summer. Both times to tell me Tyler's business was taking off and I should stop being dramatic. Neither time to ask if I was okay, if I had a place to sleep, if I was eating. Their concern, like their love, was reserved exclusively for my brother. By January, the construction company was failing. By March, it had collapsed completely. My inheritance evaporated into unpaid suppliers and abandoned equipment. My parents never apologized. They never acknowledged what they'd taken from me. They simply expected me to come home, to forget, to fall back in line. I didn't. I worked for 2 years, saving enough to start at the state university when I was 20. I lived on ramen and caffeine, pulling all-nighters to maintain my GPA while working 30 hours a week. My apartment had a mattress on the floor, milk crate bookshelves, and a determination that burned hotter than any rage. While my classmates complained about parental expectations, I received occasional texts asking for money. Tyler has a new idea, they'd write. We're a little short this month. I never responded. The silence became my shield, my boundary, my declaration of independence. I graduated with honors at 24. No family attended the ceremony. A professor who'd mentored me took photos as I crossed the stage. She framed one for my bare apartment wall. You did this, she said. Never forget that. I landed an entry-level position at a software company in Chicago, 3 hours from my hometown. The stability of a regular paycheck felt surreal after years of counting quarters for laundry. Slowly, I built a life. I met Quinn at a company hackathon, brilliant, funny, with kind eyes that saw me. For 3 years, I thought I'd finally found safety. We married when I was 27, bought a small house, and soon welcomed our son Jack. When Quinn's affair with his project manager came to light 2 years later, I didn't collapse. I'd already survived worse. I packed his bags, called a lawyer, and stood my ground. Our divorce was finalized within 6 months. He stayed in Jack's life, sending support payments on time, keeping his respectful distance. I threw myself into my career and raising Jack, determined to give him everything I'd been denied: security, support, unconditional love. No matter what, my son would know his worth wasn't tied to someone else's needs. He would know he mattered. 10 years passed with minimal contact with my family. Occasional calls, stilted holiday gatherings every few years. My success became a distant data point in their lives, something they acknowledged but never celebrated. Tyler bounced between failed ventures, each time expecting our parents to rescue him. Each time they did. The Tuesday call came during dinner. Jack was 12, carefully explaining his science project while I prepared chicken and vegetables. When my mother's name flashed on the screen, I almost declined the call. Something made me answer. "Natalie." Her voice cracked. "It's your father. Heart attack. He's stable, but we need help." A familiar weight settled in my stomach. What kind of help? The pause told me everything. "Financial," she finally said. "The house is being foreclosed. We need $275,000 to save it." I looked at Jack, innocently arranging his plate, and felt a chill. "I'll come tomorrow," I said. "We'll talk then." That night, I called my closest friend, Zara. "They'll use you again," she warned. "They always do." "I know," I replied. "But I need to finish this chapter myself." The next day, I drove the 3 hours to Louisville, leaving Jack with Zara. The house of my childhood looked smaller, tired. Paint peeled from the shutters. The lawn had surrendered to weeds. Inside, the smell of medicinal ointment mixed with burnt coffee. My father sat in his recliner, smaller than I remembered but his eyes still sharp with judgment. My mother hovered, offering weak tea and stale cookies. We exchanged awkward pleasantries, dancing around the real reason for my visit. When Tyler arrived, 40 minutes late, the charade ended. He barely acknowledged me before launching into their financial crisis: medical bills, mortgage payments, credit card debt. The solution, according to all 3 of them, was simple: I should pay it all. "You've done so well," my mother said, her smile brittle. "This is what family does." "Family?" I repeated, the word hollow. "Is that what we are calling this?" My father's face darkened. "Don't start with the victim routine, Natalie. We gave you everything. Everything except what was mine." The words slipped out, years of silence finally breaking. Tyler scoffed. "Still crying about that college money? Get over it. Some of us have real problems." I stayed quiet, studying them. My successful career, my home, my stability, these weren't achievements to celebrate but resources to exploit. In their eyes, I wasn't a daughter or sister. I was an ATM. "Natalie, please." My mother leaned forward. "We're about to lose everything. Your father's health is exactly why I won't do this," I interrupted. "Enabling Tyler has cost you your savings, your retirement, and now Dad's health. It needs to stop." Tyler stood abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. "Typical. Always thinking about yourself." My mother's expression hardened. "After everything we've sacrificed for you." "Sacrificed?" The word hung between us. "Yes, sacrificed." Her voice rose. "And now you and your kid are just freeloaders, living off what this family built for you." The room froze. My father shifted uncomfortably. Even Tyler looked surprised. I stood slowly, gathering my purse. "My son's name is Jack. He's 12. You've met him exactly 3 times, and you've never once remembered his birthday." My voice remained steady. "Don't you dare use him to manipulate me." "Natalie," my father started. "No." I cut him off. "You took my inheritance. You took my college fund. You took my security and my trust. You will not take my son's future or my peace of mind." Outside, the air felt cleaner than I remembered. I drove to a nearby hotel, hands steady on the wheel. That night I called my lawyer. I want to buy their house, I said. At market value through the bank. That's unusual, she replied cautiously. I want to own what they tried to take from me, I explained. And I want them to know exactly where they stand. The next 3 weeks unfolded with surgical precision. My lawyer contacted the bank. The foreclosure process was already underway. They were eager to offload the property. I secured a loan, signed the paperwork, and became the owner of my childhood home. The irony wasn't lost on me. The terms were simple. They could remain in the house for up to 5 years, paying me fair market rent. Each payment would go into a trust for Jack's education, the very thing they'd stolen from me. If they missed a payment, eviction would follow. I also filed a cease and desist after my lawyer discovered my mother's TikTok campaign through routine social media monitoring, tearful videos claiming I'd abandoned them in their time of need, comments calling me heartless and cruel. The legal notice arrived the same day as the new lease agreement. My mother called immediately, voice shaking with rage. "You think you can control us? You'll regret this, Natalie." "I already regret many things," I replied calmly. "But protecting myself and my son isn't one of them." Tyler's text was shorter, "You've become a monster." I didn't respond. Some conversations never lead anywhere new. They refused to sign the lease. 3 weeks later, the formal eviction notice was delivered. They moved out quietly, leaving behind broken furniture and walls punched with rage. I hired cleaners, changed the locks, and listed the property for rent. A young couple with a newborn signed the lease within days. Every month, the rent payment arrives in Jack's college fund. Not revenge, justice. A restoration of what was taken, directed toward its original purpose. My parents moved in with my brother in his small apartment across town. We haven't spoken since the eviction 3 years ago. Last weekend, Jack and I planted a garden in our backyard. Sunflowers and zinnias, vegetables and herbs. As we worked the soil, he asked about family and obligation. "Family isn't about blood," I told him, hands deep in the earth. "It's about who shows up, who respects your boundaries, who celebrates your success without expecting a cut." "Do you miss them?" he asked. "I miss who I thought they were," I answered honestly. "But I love the life we've built more than I miss the illusion." If you're facing a family that sees you as a resource rather than a person, remember this: standing firm isn't cruelty, it's self-preservation. You're not heartless for protecting what you've built. You're not selfish for expecting respect. And you're certainly not wrong for closing doors that only swing one way. Family isn't who claims you when they need something. It's who sees your value when you have nothing to give. I chose my son, my peace, and the woman I fought to become. And in that choice, I found the family I deserved all along.